mean, honestly, I had to fan myself watching that. Okay, I was like, that is hot. Like, I want to make out with him now. You know, like.
Don't let your husband hear you.
Hi, this is Juniper.
Hello, this is Elle.
Welcome to another pod. And today we're going to talk about another show by Tan Jianci called Love Me, Love My Voice. 很想很想你 in Chinese, which it's because of you that I watched it. And I believe it's the reason you started liking Tan Jianci. And then, of course, recently we both watched Lost You Forever Season 1. So then how could you not love Xiangliu? Okay, don't answer that. If you don't like Xiangliu, that's okay. But we love Xiangliu. And I had to watch this as kind of a therapy, I think. After watching, well, I didn't even finish Lost You Forever Season 2 yet, but I know how it ends, right? So I'm like, oh, I need to watch some happiness. So
yeah,
light, fluffy romance it is.
Yeah,
Anyways,
you called it an antidote. The antidote that you needed.
Yes, it was an antidote, and it did its job very well. So, anyways, you want to start because you watched this first before Lost You Forever. It was your entree into Tan Jianci. So,
yes, Love Me, Love My Voice is actually based on a novel called in English it translates to Really, Really Miss You.
That is the Chinese title of the show.
Yeah,
很想很想你.
Yeah, I think the novel in the China was just Miss You, which is even a shortened version of that. So actually, I read this novel through a translation site many, many years ago, and I remember it was like really beloved. And in the novel, he had a nickname Tao Pai. I'm saying in Cantonese, but that's how I remember him, and I actually liked it so much. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I liked it so much, even though it was definitely like ooey gooey, sweet, very sugary. I remember liking
it. Is exactly how you should describe this.
I liked it so much. I bought the novel. I mean, this is like easily almost 10 years ago. I bought the novel, even though I can't read it, just to support the author because I was like, oh, it's so cute. And within the translation site that I read it on, it was also a fan favorite on that site. So years ago, people thought about how they would adapt it, but none, that was like 10 years ago. So now when I heard that this was coming out, I was like, I don't know who the guy is. I know who the girl is. I was like, okay, I can see her playing this role. But I remember thinking like it would be really hard to cast the guy because in the novel he's supposed to have this amazing presence, the most beautiful singing and speaking voice you've ever heard. And I'm like, that's a tall order because a lot of people in China are dubbed. So I'm like, all right, I guess they'll try like just cast a really good looking guy and then dub it with another professional voice dubber. But I was pleasantly surprised that they found someone who could play the role and do his own voice acting and sing. And so that's kind of how I got sucked into watching this, even though I don't think when I started it that Tan Jianci was like who I pictured. But he embodied.
Right, he's not like a natural, like strikingly good-looking guy in your face, good-looking, right? I mean, Xiangliu was very good-looking, but that is all of it is like styling. I think we talked about that.
Yes,
but he does have very good charisma when he's acting, and so you were not disappointed, right? When you watched
I was not disappointed. I bought it. Actually, I thought he was better as I don't remember how to say it, Mo Ching Cheng or.
His real life persona, the doctor.
Yeah, and then the voice actor. How do you say his name?
Chang Qingci.
Yeah,
it kind of sounds like his real name, Tan Jianci, isn't it? It's like a mouthful.
Yeah. So I actually loved his performance more than I loved Zhou Ye's in a way. Not that I thought she was terrible or bad as the female lead.
Right.
She was a little too naive, like.
Is the character written that way though? Oh, hey, do we even talk about what the show is about? I mean, story, thin story. It's about what?
Okay, so basically the story is Tan Jianci plays a voice dubbing actor or I guess like a
Or
voice
star,
actor.
right? Online star.
Yeah, but he's become very famous and professional. And the female lead is like a huge fan of his. And one day he appears in a private chat room of hers, and that's how they start talking on a personal level. And the story is really talking about how they get to know each other through their voices before they meet, and then they fall in love. It's a very sweet romance.
Yes, I got diabetes from it, and in a nice way, I suppose. It was a diabetic show.
Yes. So, in the original novel, though, I guess the author has written other things, and she says she wrote this as a healing piece, like a piece where everything's just like lovey-dovey, and she had put in a lot of Chinese style music, a lot of things about food, and so when you watch the drama, which aligns very closely to the novel, it's literally like food porn. I don't want to say that word, but it is. It's like he's just reciting recipes to her over QQ or WeChat or whatever platform, the software platform they're using to communicate. And she's a foodie, so she's like really into this. Like, oh my god, my favorite voice actor is basically sharing his personal recipes with me through his beautiful voice. And then he's not supposed to be a singer, but then she finds out he can really sing, and then he sings all these songs in the sort of ancient Chinese style of music. In the story, she's also a composer. So that also is like really kind of like inching into the territory that she's very comfortable with, that she has a passion about. And then they're just two attractive looking people who are like, when they meet, they're just like really into each other, and there's like basically no one else around them.
There are no bad guys in this show, and nothing bad ever happens, is all I can say.
No bad guys.
There is no dramatic tension other than to say, when are they going to get together and find out who each other are? That's about as much tension as you get in the first, I don't know, 10. When did they find out? No, four episodes. She finds out who he is, literally, like sees him for the first time.
Yeah, in about like the 5th episode.
But so back to before I kind of made you digress or detour to what the plot is her character as naive, Julia's character as naive and saccharine in the book?
I didn't pick up on that because I felt like she was more starry-eyed. You know, like you can be I mean, basically it's like a Cinderella story. Not Cinderella. I don't want to say Cinderella. It's like it's a fantasy. I think I texted you. It's a fantasy without the supernatural elements. It's a romance fantasy in that she meets the perfect guy. It's like the guy she's had. She never knew what he looked like. None of his fans. Yeah, so in the story, he stays anonymous. No one knows what he actually looks like. So it's not like an actor that you can have a picture of. So he's like a fantasy for all of the fans because it's just his voice that is so enigmatic and charismatic. And so she like I never got the sense in the novel that she was like, oh my god, and everything's that sweet and lovely. It's more like their time together was sweet and lovely. But it wasn't like she had to be that. I don't want to say juvenile, but it was juvenile in the drama. Like she
was very juvenile, but you know, I got over it, or I can forgive it because it's so and I have to say, I watched it with like comments on a Chinese platform, and people were either loving the what did you call it, the ooey gooiness, right? It's the squishy romance, sugar, like saccharine, whatever, or there were people bashing like how bad of an actress Zhou was. Like, they're haters, right? Which I was like, she's not a bad actress. She is doing what this role is as written. Now, would you like this kind of character? Maybe not. Not your cup of tea if you don't like it completely. Like, I think you said this when you were talking about the other show she was in with Lingy, right? The Everyone Loves Me, where she's a spunky kind of girl, right? Like, kind of where she's like, oh, you're like, she was pretending to be a saccharine girl to please the guy in that show, except, you know, I fell flat on her face because of that, because that's not who she is. And I think this is what's happening in this show, which is Julia in real life is not like this. She's actually pretty spunky too, right?
Yeah.
But she's playing this like completely, I don't know. The character's supposed to be in college as a senior. I felt like she was barely out of like middle school personality. And so that was the only thing that kind of bothered me while watching it. Look, so as a show, it's very pleasant to watch. But yet there's no dramatic tension. So take it for what it is, which is you can watch it in the background. Just make sure you don't miss like the food highlights. Because I have to say, for food porn, they did a really good job. So all they do in this show is date, talk, sing to each other, go on sort of dates, spend time together, eat, cook, eat. They don't sleep much.
No.
I think I texted you that. I was like,
she's
they don't sleep.
sleepy when they're
time management specialists. Right? Like, go on trips. So it's like the ideal fantasy life. Like, if you had even though he's a doctor, he's a heart doctor, heart surgeon.
Yeah,
in fact,
cardiac surgeon. Yeah,
he has time.
And he has time to be a voice dubber and to learn how to cook and to. Yeah. So, okay. So I would say for her performance.
Someone said it was a sci-fi story. They're like, this is the best sci-fi romance ever. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No. I think that's realistic to say. So I would say for her, I gave her a pass because she comes from a sheltered family. I mean, culturally, there's also these things I'm not aware of. But I would say she's not. The thing they did make is that she's not like an idiot. Right? Like she's not like so naive that she would fall for certain things, right? I feel like they wrote her, or she performed it as she is very innocent, but she has her own level of intelligence, and she has probably decent like EQ. And actually, there was a comment I read. They said basically this drama is like watching two introverts fall in love, and I was like, that's kind of true because they are both.
It is.
They're both behind the scenes people, right? They don't really want the spotlight.
I think I texted you. I was like, what am I watching? Am I watching a dating sim? Because it feels like, it's like you said, now that you said that the author wrote it to kind of be a mood booster, totally makes sense now, right? Like you just, if you're having a down day, put this show on the background or whatever. You don't have to really pay attention. It's just like that was a pleasant travel log, or that was a, pleasant romance interlude, with very pretty people. And I am very impressed. I forgot to say this earlier when you were talking about this, which is Tan Jiance's voice acting is very good. I mean, his line delivery is very good, even in like Lost You Forever, right? The other show. But in this, he has to be a voice actor. And I was like, my heart, like certain times when he's doing certain deliveries as his like persona as the voice actor, I was like, oh, my heart, I would flutter for this,
And it's interesting because remember when I was watching this, I was sending, before you watched it, I was just texting you like music videos from the drama. And then I was listening to his personal like albums, like his own recordings. And it's a very different style. Like this is not the type of music he did professionally, like when he was trying to build a music career. And it still isn't. Like he just had that concert in Shanghai. And his personal music style is not this. So I was really impressed that whoever he's working, I'm assuming he's working with some sort of voice coach, right, to guide him to sing or perform this. And I thought he did such a great job. I wish he would actually sing more of that type of music because it works with his voice very well.
He's a very deep voice when he wants to have one, even though normally when his talking voice, it is not. But so anyways, I feel like we're all over the place just because the show is kind of like there is no focus to the show, right? It is it is a dating sim, travel log, food blog, whatever, food blog.
Yeah.
Though I have to say, for a show that's not supposed to be about food, they did a really good job filming all of the cooking and the eating. Honestly, they did a better job to food, like more justice to food and eating enjoyment than the other show I watched with Wang Xingyue, which is supposed to be about cooking and food. What is it? Delicacy's Destiny? Yeah. Albeit that is like ancient China, food. But still, you watch that show, you don't go, oh, I really want to eat all this stuff. You watch this show, I'm like, man, can you just invite me over for dinner? Like, I want to be... And he's always cooking. He's a cardiac surgeon or whatever. He's dubbing. He's cooking large meals for everyone and their friends and uncles and whatever. Whoever just, the perfect man.
I was like, oh, how come he's not even wearing an apron? He's wearing a white shirt.
I know, it worries me. That gave me anxiety. That was the only anxiety I had in the show. I was like, that's gonna get dirty, oil splatter. Like, and the things he's cooking, they're like high intensity. He's not making a salad, cold dish.
So I want to
anyways.
talk. I want to talk about his character though. So okay, so in the
yes.
novel, it is demonstrated in the drama. So every time he has an interaction, so back to how they've met. So in the beginning, she is a fan of his, and then she was talking to her friend in a private chat room, and he kind of drops in by accident somehow, and that's how they initially meet. So in every chapter of the drama, in the novel, and it's also, like I said, in the drama, every time they have another interaction, he somehow will like get more information out of her, right?
Yes.
He'll be like, "Oh, what's your WeChat? Oh, what's your phone number? Oh, where do you live?" Like, and people were like, "Wait, how is this? This is like he's kind of creepy."
But I kept saying that, right? I said, "Oh, he's slick. Like he's supposed to not have dated ever before, right? But he's really slick with her, and he's very, very like deliberate or focused. Like he knows what he's up to, but." He maneuvered. I was like, "Is this whole show about him maneuvering her into place to become his girlfriend?" And he moves very quickly.
I would say the answer is yes. Like he planned it long ago.
He's good.
But so one of the things that was never answered in the novel, which they answered in the drama, and I was happy they did that, was how did he actually get into her chat room? Because a lot of people were like, if it's a private chat, usually there's a password or something. So they don't answer it directly in the drama, but they do say he says he has a tendency to just drop into random people's chat rooms. And so it's insinuated maybe hers didn't have a password or passcode protection at the time. And he dropped into, but they do say, so the twist, so spoiler, right? The whole twist is that the whole time you thought she was in love with him first because she fangirled over his voice. But the twist is that he actually heard her voice a few years before that. And he had been obsessively looking for her ever since. Because he was like I said, a composer, and she was humming a demo tape that was sent to his cousin.
And he loved her voice.
He loved it, but the demo had no name. And so when he heard her voice in the chat room, he was like, "Oh my God, I found her. I need to find her in real life." And so the whole book / drama is really him putting himself in the position to get to her. And he basically didn't know what she looked like. So for all he knew, she could be not his type, but he was still determined to meet her. And like I said, people would say, he's so slick. Every time he talks to her, he finds out more information about her. And by the time he meets her, it's almost like he's like, this is a done deal.
He's like, I'm going to get what I want, right? Except, what did I say? I texted you early on when I said he's so slick. I was like, good thing he uses his powers for good.
Yeah, right? What if he's like a villain? This could have been like a novel that went the other way.
Exactly. The dark side.
Yeah, so the things that you and I talked about was like, if you weren't so invested that this was a romance, you would think he's a freaking creep. Like, he's a stalker.
Not a creep, but there is that kind of like weird-ish vibe. Like, he's too close for comfort. And she's just too naive, especially given that she's acting way too young for what her age is supposed to be, right? Like we talked about earlier. So it's kind of like, ooh, is he a pedophile? You know, kind of feel.
Yeah, what does he ultimately want out of this, right? How would he know if he's only relying on the sound of her voice, right? It's her voice that he's like in love with as well. And so just to be, so in the novel, their age gap was supposed to be 5 to 6 years, but in the drama, they made it like 8 years. Because I think in real life, that's like
he's like 29 in the show, and she's 22. She does not act 22. She acts like she's 16, and he acts like he's 32.
Some people say she acts like she's 12. So
okay, maybe, but that would be just too. But age gap to me is not what bothers. It's more the EQ or emotional maturity.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things the show does very well, or maybe you call it badly, is it frustrates them a lot. Like, they don't kiss until like episode 18 or 19, but when they do, my God, it is hot. It's like the floodgates open. I was like, oh, I get it. So, okay, so for anyone who's listening, if you watch nothing else, watch the end of episode 19. That is one of the hottest like makeout scenes. And they're not even making out. He got her like somehow. He walked her down to the lobby, right, of a karaoke KTV, and he had her backed up against the glass door, and suddenly he decides to kiss her. And that was like their second kiss, right? Because their first kiss, you're like, oh, this is going to be disappointing kissing.
It's very chaste, yes.
Yeah, you're like,
Mhm.
oh no, it's one of those like cold fish type of pecs, right? No, we were misled. End of episode 19. You could put that like on loop or something, because I was like, I mean, honestly, I had to fan myself watching that. Okay, I was like, that is hot. Like, I want to make out with him now. Like, I'm sorry, am I embarrassing you?
Don't let your husband hear you.
Fine.
You described it as he was like a wolf. Like it was very he said
He was very like hungry, like predatory.
yeah, but in a like he's lustful is what you're trying to say.
Yes,
But
yes,
but he was
and
still yeah,
respectful. But at the same
respectfully.
time, I'm like, how did they not go further? And that wasn't the only time. Later on, they have a few more type of like makeouts like that, and I was like, how do you stop at that? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So just to clarify, in the novel, there's some scenes where they kiss and it doesn't end. But I think in the drama they censored it. So they said, "Oh, she's sleepy," and then she just falls asleep next to him, and
no,
he
I was
tucks her
like,
in like
who?
he tucks her in like she's a baby, and I'm like, ugh.
I know, but as such as that's the part of him you're like, I don't buy it, right? He's obviously he has that side to him, like a passionate or lustful guy, right?
Yeah,
That comes out when he's doing these scenes with her, but then he keeps it in check and goes back to like almost like the uncle figure again, which also is kind of weird. The weird vibe again. You're like, what? It's like he's babysitting her and the women in the next minute, it's like,
I would say that is consistent because I feel like okay, aside from the
consistent what with the book?
no, consistent with his character throughout. So like the uncle, the caringness, right? Like everything he does is for her. Okay, so there was a thing I felt as we got near the end of the drama, which they don't have all of this. They had some of it in the novel, but it was different. It deviated a little bit in the drama, which is where you know how he planned everything out. Like he planned out the day they would do wedding photos, what she's gonna wear in the wedding photo. He bought her a house for after she graduated from her master's or whatever program she was in. And I was like thinking the whole time, like the only thing that didn't feel right to me, and they do say it because she's like, oh, I'm not even contributing or anything, right? I mean, he's basically planned out her life he's planned out their lives together for her. Like,
Yes.
and I
He's
feel
still
kind of like,
maneuvering her into place. Like he's
yes,
high-handed.
yes,
But
like
you forgive him because as the story is told, they don't reveal that there's anything really malignant, not malignant. What's
malicious.
not malicious behind it.
Yeah.
He just really wants to have her in his life in that
Yes.
capacity as girlfriend and wife. He's like going on like the what is it, the fast pass.
Yeah. So, like on one hand, okay, like I was saying, if you buy into the like he just really loves her and wants to give her the best life, then this is the ultimate fantasy, right? It's a guy where you don't have to worry about paying the bills or how you're gonna afford a house or like he does everything for you, right? Like even these trips that he plans, he plans the whole itinerary. Like when they were in Guilin and he like got that boat to be in the middle of the river for the sunrise. Like everything he does is for her. It's like planned to like the minute for to make her life like the most
It
fabulous
could be
thing.
very like suffocating, like a
But it could,
smothering
but
kind of love.
yes, but if you had met a different girl who is a different personality, right? Where she's like, this is too much, right? Like I don't want you to do all this for me. It could have gone in that direction, but obviously this was not the goal of this story.
She's gonna be coddled her whole life almost, unless she
sh-
somehow changes.
Yes,
But I
and
think she
don't think
does
she
really
will.
love him because you do see kind of like, was it episode 23 or something where they go to like the Thousand Islands place and she
Mm-hmm.
does kind of take the initiative to be more forward with him. So I think you
Mm-hmm.
do see some hints that she will be more like him as an equal in this relationship
Mm-hmm.
eventually. It's
Yeah.
what's weird to me sometimes is that then they revert back to her somehow like being shy again. I'm like, well, she's not really shy if you've seen her do some of the, you know what I mean? Like when they were making
Yeah.
out on the outside on the lounge chairs, right? The
Yeah.
chase lounges. Um, and she took like took the initiative to like was it pin him down or something? I was like, whoa, did she just do that? Like, again, of course they stop. And you're just like, oh, come on, guys. But anyways, anything else you want to talk about the main CP? Because I do want to talk about some of the side characters, not at length, but there are other characters in this show.
Yeah, a lot of people wish they spent more time on the side characters, because the main CP was such a driving force of the drama. So
it is almost all them all the time.
Yeah. Which secondary or tertiary CP did you want to cover?
Well, them all, right? So the second CP is Jimmy, his friend, really tall, very good-looking older man too. They're all very good-looking people in this show. And her friend or roommate, and I didn't care about them, but I thought they were funny. And well, he's cute in his own way. I mean, I'm sure some people in the comments said that he was better looking than Tan Jianci, and I can see why, right? He's more manly, like an older man. But
yeah, he's more classic. Hollywood, like you would call that Hollywood
handsome
actor,
man.
Handsome, yeah.
And he's tall, right? Like poor Tan Jianci, like anyone who wants to be like anti-fan can just bash his height, which I don't hold it against him. So, but I just didn't feel any chemistry between Jimmy and the girl. So and it's almost like they forgot them some way. Like they started the line about them being CP and then they dropped it until the very end. And then they picked it up again. So I don't really consider them much of a focus, even though they're all kind of likable people. What I actually liked more was the third CP. I think they're the third CP, which is Dodo. So the girl that we really like, the pretty girl from My Boss, the office girl, is in this. And she's kind of like their older female like colleague in the recording studio for the guys, right? And she manages a lot of their lives and stuff, but she has no CP until the very end. Well, you kind of know she likes like the younger guy, right? The third voice acting lead in their studio. There's like 3 famous guys in their studio, and he's the third. But they don't do anything about it until the very end. But what I did like was that they gave you a concentrated dose of their CP story and how it came to fruition in the second to last episode. I almost wanted to see a spin-off of that because that was the most close this show got to an actual like romantic tension.
Or angst.
Yeah, angst, right? Like they played out all those type of tropes in one episode or half an episode. But they did it very well, I thought. And I wanted to actually see more of that, especially since I like the girl a lot. The actress, she's so pretty. She's very natural. And I actually thought her paired guy was very cute, too. He's not my type, but he's very cute with her. The guy with the glasses.
I found him a bit childish, but like you said, he made up for it when he came around and did his mini confession.
Because in some ways, I'm your man, no one shall have you type of thing.
Well, because I also think in their lives together, like he had always been like the younger. I don't want to say submissive, but she was more dominant in their interactions, right?
He's afraid of her, right? He's afraid of fame, I think, because he doesn't feel like he measures up. Because also, I think in Chinese culture, especially, it's not even a Chinese thing. Because I don't think of it that way. As I said, I'm older than my husband, so age is not an issue with me. But in a lot of Asian cultures, especially, women just don't go out with younger men. It's frowned upon.
Yeah. Like I said, I was okay with it. I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to see the story. It was just it came so late in the drama. By then, you're like, let's just wrap it up, And I feel like in some ways that's what they did with the side characters too, like. They just wanted to wrap it up and say, oh, here are your 3 CPs, but they're really not. It was one main CP and then half of each of a CP,
Yeah, but not that having the extra CPs detracted or added to the show in that. I mean, so what I don't like is that the show has really not much going on other than, sweetness, right? And the dating sim. And it's 33 episodes long. I was like, how is this 33 episodes? And 33 45-minute episodes. That is long for a show about nothing, okay? So you better like these people. But, I obviously liked it enough to watch it. But I did watch it with comments on, and the comments are hilarious. So the comments have an entertainment value on its own. So if you ever watch this with, like, Chinese platforms with the Chinese comments on, it's hilarious. I think I texted you some of them, right? Like, people are like, somebody was like, this is the show with the most comprehensive representation of transportation vehicles ever.
Yeah,
That was
they did
hilarious.
every mode of transportation. You've seen them on in around.
Right. So I went at inventory. I was like, okay, they walk, they take the bus. He has a car. They drive. They do bikes. They do
They had
boats.
they had
They
a
even
hot
did hot
scene in
air
a
balloon.
metro. Oh yeah, hot air
Oh
balloon.
yes, the metro. Do we
The
miss one?
metro. Yeah, the metro. I texted you about that. I was like, nothing happens, but like the fact that they're like crammed together on in this busy, tight, crowded train was kind of sexy, but nothing happens, right? But
Don't get like when you look at them for most of the show that when there's nothing's happening other than two very introverted people staring long sweetly at each other smiling, you're like, is this creepy, is this weird, is there chemistry there? And then they have these moments of either almost making out, too close for comfort, or really making out, and you're like, oh yeah, there's chemistry, oh yeah, this is really hot, like
yeah.
I feel like it's a dating sim because I feel like that's when I was young, like when we were younger, right? And we, we were in the throes of young love. That's how it felt like.
Well, it's funny because when I looked at the photos from the drama, you don't get that sense. Like,
no, it's
I almost feel
vanilla, sweet.
Yes, you don't get that they would have really like hot interactions or
most of the show you wouldn't get that until you made it halfway through, and then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a payoff, right? It's like
yes,
it's like, oh, this was worth waiting for.
Of each other's kissing, and all they can do is kiss apparently because the show won't let them do more.
No. But it's funny. So some of the other side characters. There was one that I did not pay attention to the beginning, and then as the show progressed, it was just Mumu. I'm saying his name wrong. Is it Mumu?
Oh, the cosplayer, the deadpan cosplayer. Yeah.
Oh my god. So he's so okay. I don't know anything about this actor, but he is so consistent because I remember. So it used to be just a joke like that. He had no expression on his face, and I was like, okay, that's not that interesting, right? But I remember every time they had like these outings as a whole group of friends, it didn't matter what they were doing. It really had no expression, and I think even the episode where Jianci retired, right, as a voice dubber. So they had like this cake cutting scene. Everyone's cheering and clapping. I remember seeing he's in this shot and his face is just deadpan. Like that guy is consistent with his delivery. Like he didn't even crack a smile or participate in the clapping. He just stood there like stone faced. And I was like, I remember him in the novel, but it was not as clear cut that this is how he would be played in a real life scenario. So I actually appreciate, whatever they did to make his character very, very interesting.
Wait, the deadpanness made him interesting. I thought he was interesting because he was so spot on about his observations of what's going on.
Yes. I think it's a combination of that, right? It's like he looks like he's the last person who would care about gossip or be intuitive about the people around him, but he's actually the first one. He's actually very observant.
He's most insightful about what's happening. He just doesn't say it out loud, or he directs the flow of traffic around him silently, but very wisely, which is good. So anyways, anything else about the main plot or characters as a word plot wise? What plot? Would you recommend this show? I guess
I would.
I wouldn't rate the show, to be honest, because it's not really much of a show. I mean, honestly, I thought at one point I wonder what the actors took this assignment other than it's like a free vacation.
Oh yeah, the whole like the Guilin. Okay, Guilin is one of my most favorite cities in the world. Like I've been to Guilin like 18 years ago. I was there, and when the episodes start, because this was not in the novel, they added this. It was like a travelogue. It was like a 3-episode tourism board promotion for Guilin.
It was fun to watch, though. It wasn't boring. It was watch.
Yeah, it was very fun because I was like, oh, I didn't even see this much of Guilin when I was there, right?
Yeah, now I want to go after watching those episodes. I was like, oh, that looks like a nice place to visit. No, anyways,
it really is beautiful. I highly, if you ever get a chance to go, I want to go back one day. But actually, no, I was thinking I texted you with like they were had this like date, quote unquote date, and they're watching like this river show on like this show on the water, this light show on the river, and I was like, I saw that 18 years ago, and I was like, oh, that show's still running.
18 years ago.
I was like, oh, I thought that was like one of the short-lived things, but it kept going. So they still have it as a tourist spot. But I would say that if you just want something, like you said, something in the background, something pleasant. Oh, we didn't talk about the music. I really enjoyed the songs. I wish I can buy the soundtrack because
it's on Spotify.
I know, but you can't like buy it. I want like a CD or something. Like
I'll make like, you one.
You burn me a CD.
Oh my god. Burn a CD. How do you do that anymore? Anyways, go on.
No, I was gonna say that. So in the original novel, because I read the one that was based on the Raws, the author originally had like used copyrighted music in each chapter, but obviously when she went to publication, she had to rewrite her own lyrics. I think she only got away with one copyrighted song in her published novel, and so I don't know if if her lyrics were used for the music in the drama, but I would say that all the original music they did was all very, very comfortable to listen to. Like you can also just play the music in the background, and it's very stylistically, it just works for even though it's a modern show because of the type of work that they do. It just works, and I just really enjoy the music. And they found singers who can sing really well. I think I read there's only 2 people who were not dubbed. One of which was Dan健次. I don't know who the other one who was not dubbed, but the rest of the other actors had to be dubbed for their singing voices. And then finally the thing I want to remark on is also her wardrobe. She dresses in a very like modern Chinese way.
Well, that's the whole thing. The gufeng is what they call the whole style of music, and the way she composes her songs. It's gufeng. It's like the ancient Chinese, like it's like a costuming, like wearing like more ancient, like traditional Chinese wear, sing more traditional Chinese type of music, and that's what it is. I didn't care for her wardrobe, to be honest. It made her look kind of dowdy, but Joey is so pretty. She carries it off okay.
Yeah, he just if you want to compare, he just much more.
He dressed like he's in a Korean drama.
Yes. I actually like some of the
great, right? I know. Like, I was like, oh, he looks really good, especially when you're like, oh, that's why you felt extra nervous when he's cooking with the giant wok. You're like,
like those expensive looking blazers,
cashmere sweater or something. Like, get the dry cleaner here ASAP.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I get very worked up about that.
Yeah. No, I felt the same way. I was very nervous. But I would say, yeah, I think styling wise, music wise, like it's not what you expect, but it kind of works together. First, they pulled it off. I could have seen this going a different direction and it would have looked very gaudy or, uncomfortable. But like everything just works well together. And like you said, it's hard to give it a rating. I just think it's one of those things for me. Like I said, I bought the novel even when I couldn't read it because I like the characters so much. And then it was just like it was nice to see it well casted. That the characters lived up to the fantasy, if you will.
Yes,
and made their own version
to watch. There's nothing, and like I said, I watched it for the antidote of having a sweet Dan健次romance with Zhou, who I both like, and it did deliver on that. So if you are looking for something to lighten up your life without any pressure from any dramatic tension, because there are no bad things or bad guys in the show, this is it. And if if you can't take all 33 episodes, I mean, I did write down the highlights. I think can I expound any more, emphasize that you should watch the end of episode 19. And then episode 29, I think, was when they're on their second vacation to Thousand Islands and they really make out for a while. And you're like, oh, that's it? Like, is there more? Anyways, so I would recommend it with those caveats, right? Yeah. Going with that grain. Don't expect anything major. It's not even a drama. It's a travel log. It's fun. And I mean, they're pretty people. I don't even know. Would you say, Dan健次and Zhou, I don't think that's her. We've watched so many shows with Zhou now. It's kind of funny, right? We're not even like out and out Zhou fans, but we've just seen her in a lot of things. I don't think he's her best pairing. It's not that they're bad.
Who do you think is her best
Well, I was
pairing?
going to say, who do you think is her best pairing? Because I thought of that question. That's why I was about to go. I want to hear your thoughts.
Back from the Brink.
Same. Totally. She and Neo-Ho make a really good pair.
They do. Yeah.
And that's what carried that show. I mean, the show was fun, but they were really sweet together. We should talk about that show someday. But anyways.
We should.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know who makes a better CP with Danjianci, as you know, it's not Yangzi, because it is and it isn't. In that Xiangliu's character wouldn't exist, right? Without Xiaoyao in Lost You Forever. But I have to watch more of his shows. This is motivation to watch more of his shows. To see who pairs well with him.
I mean, I don't think he hasn't done that many romances, I think.
No, like, but he's going to
starting to
more, have more,
yeah. Didn't you say he's with? Well, he's in Filter coming up with.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Maybe Li Landi would be a good foil for him because they're both pretty good actors.
Yes.
So while it may not be great chemistry, like she and Chen Xinxi didn't have great chemistry per se of like the just raw chemical reaction, but they were a very good pair in The Starry Love because they were both such good actors invested in the role. So I'm wondering if the same will happen with Filter with her and Tan Jianci. Anyways, I digress. Sorry, I can't speak anymore because I'm so tongue-tied thinking about how could they stop making out at that juncture. That's gonna bother me. So there is some tension, I guess, leftover tension from after watching the show. Anyways, that's it. That's all I have on Love Me, Love My Voice.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said all I can say. It's just sugary sweetness, the fantasy, unfantasy, and it's cute. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, mopeds. That just popped into my head. That was another form of transportation. Sorry, I will shut up now.
Mopeds, rafts.
Oh, I will say, have you watched? So I would consider watching some of the BTS or interviews from the show because it's interesting some of the insights it gives you, like all the hot kissing scenes. One of them, it's so hot when you're watching them, and then you see the BTS is like they're being surrounded by the director and like so many crew members. And there was one I thought was hilarious, but Tanjance is like they're telling him what to do, and he's like, "I can't. I've got a bunch of people just watching me."
That's so embarrassing.
I know, it's very embarrassing, right? He's holding Zoya, and it's kind of funny. Like that cracked me up. And then I think episode 27 when he retires from the stage, that was very poignant in some ways. Well, I actually didn't think the show was poignant in the execution of it. They made it almost like bigger than it ought to have been in my mind for what it was. But in the BTS, you see the director told Tan Jianci, I think at one point, "Oh, you did too much, like it's too sad. There's too much pathos." It's because he said he channeled his own vision of him retiring from the stage one day.
Oh.
He likes to perform. I know. I just thought that was interesting. Anyways, I just thought that I'd share that nugget before we sign off. But yeah, so worth a check out if you're a fan of Tan Jianci's or you enjoyed the show and you just want to learn more, because it does color your lens, and it's almost there's more going on behind the scenes in the making of than there is in the actual show.
Yeah. Oh, because you mentioned the scene when he's retiring. In the novel, that's where it's supposed to end. Like, the novel ends when he retires. And then the fans were like, we need more. So the author wrote more. So people were like, the rest of it is basically a long epilogue.
That would be so disappointing if it really just ended at the retirement. Oh my God.
That was originally where the novel ended, and people were like, "Oh, we need a little bit more." And so she added
do that to us.
Yeah, she added a few paragraphs, and then I think when it went to publication, she added a few more chapters after that. So yeah, they fleshed it out a lot in the drama.
Well, that's good to know. Wow.
I know. Yeah, because the romance doesn't really kick in until way after that.
Drama. Now that's drama right there. Why do authors, and is it a Chinese thing? Like where, you know how we complain about the script writing and the storytelling and a lot of these authors from Chinese like fiction land? I wonder if it's a Chinese thing. I'm sorry, They're
just like, I'm done writing this. I'm done. I'm done with these characters.
Random pause, done. Like what?
Yeah.
Kill you. I kill you.
That would not have been a very good drama.
Yeah. Well,
We're
that's no
adapting
different from
this.
most like 80% of C-dramas that just have a crap ending, right? Like, hey, that just jumped off a cliff. Why? I don't understand.
It was like, oh, there was no climax. Oh, okay. Thanks.
But then something tragic happened with the way they ended it by not having a proper ending. Okay. Yeah, I would have been annoyed. Anyways, okay. I think we said way more than we needed to yet again. So we'll just leave it at that now.
All right. Well, until next time.
Until next time, talk soon.
Bye.